Madam Speaker, I believe that we need to give credit where credit is due in 2016. What they did in 2016, honorable colleagues, for the public consumption as well, they did not touch Article 79. And it's just that, yeah, there we go. They did not touch Article 79. And I think it was in their wisdom, because they knew that at such a time, there may be need for the parliamentarians who it is you, honorable colleague. You do not come here in your own capacity. You come here carrying all the members and all the people of Kamvisa, whether they voted for you or not. You are the representative. And so in their wisdom, in 2016, they left the clause in clause 79. And what does it say? It says, I want to find it so that I don't misrepresent, Madam Speaker. And this clause says that subject to the provision of this article, Parliament may alter this constitution or the Constitution of Zambia Act of 1991, subject to the clause 3, that is in 2, a bill for the alteration of this constitution or Constitution of Zambia Act 1991 shall not be passed unless, these are the safeguards, A, not less than 30 days before the first reading of the bill of the National Assembly is published in the Gazette. So what do they want to make sure? That it is not just you and me, even though we have the power, but the public also can speak into this process with their concerns. Secondly, in their wisdom of 2016, the bill has to be supported or will be supported on second and third reading by the vote of 2/3 majority of the members of parliament. If we did the math currently at 156, I think we are talking about 111, somewhere there. So it is then our responsibility, honorable colleagues, to say, how do we talk to ourselves, how do we caucus, but also how do we listen to our members? You have an office, they can come to your office, they call you, because the idea is, even as you are seated here, what you have asked me is not necessarily just your question. It is a concern of some of your constituents' members. So it is through that provision, which was left in the wisdom of those that sat in 2016, they left it deliberately for such a time as this, and hence is what will be used. And less time, more effective, and indeed we will hope that we can amend to those issues and maybe other issues that we may not have thought about. So take advantage of the committee stage, take advantage of the process of submitting. You are part of this nation, and your concerns and your submission, they matter. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you, Minister of Justice. Madam Speaker, first and foremost, I wish I've loved our colleagues who walked our way inside here, because this document is a document for all of us. And then we find consensus. They tell us what are some of the issues which they are not seeing in here, which the minister has provided for. And then we amicably sit and find consensus, because it's our document. But it's very sad, because no question has been asked. So I really don't understand. I'm at pains, Madam Speaker. I've looked at, it's not about precedence, what happened with your Bill 10, whatever. Let's look at the Zambian people. And let's look at what's progressive and what's not progressive, period. So what happened, we are here today. Let's focus and move forward as a country. Madam Speaker, I've looked at some of these issues which have been proposed, and they're non-contentious. They're issues which will help us, because law is dynamic. It shouldn't be repugnant. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to find out from the Minister of Justice on how, because I think the major issues on our stakeholders, our people from the constituencies, which my honorable colleague from Wense has asked. Is there any proviso for time so that we can find ways and means to consult our people and also hear their views, as it were, so that we can have a wider consensus? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Bwana Mkubwa. Another progressive question. First of all, Madam Speaker, because of the nature of what we are discussing, and indeed, I hope that even my colleagues who have walked out can be listening in their cars or wherever they may be, but it's not just for the consumption of this House, it is for the nation, and hence why you have allowed this statement, Madam Speaker, to come under your able office, and we are grateful. I just want to set a stage, Honourable Member, before I even answer your question that you have posed. I know a lot of us have seen a lot of talks around social media in particular, where we are upholding or celebrating what has happened in Namibia, where the parliament, the cabinet is more female. And rightly so, we need to celebrate, and hence why we have some of the provisions we are actually proposing so that we can see an increase of women representation in this country who actually speak to the over 51% as a population. And yet we have staggered behind a country that has been progressive. We got independence earlier, before Namibia. There are fewer, we are more, and many other things that I can cite. But in terms of also the need to consult as we go out there, I also want us to continue contrasting our size and population to other countries. And this is why I want to set this stage. Namibia, as I've already alluded to, has only 2.9 million people, compared to Zambia, which is about 19.5, or you can round it up to 20 million. They have 121 constituencies, and I stand to be corrected. Malawi, with 21 million people, they are sitting at 193 constituencies, and they are proposing in their current conversations to 228 constituencies. Again, I stand to be corrected. Zimbabwe, which is 16.1 million, has constituencies around 211. They are less to us by almost 4 million. And here we are still arguing about the need of constituencies to be delimitated. And so you find it difficult to comprehend, because it is through this. Let's say you have one constituency like, what is that, in Southern Province, Kazungula, Katombora. Is it Katombora? The second largest district in the country, and there's only one constituency. He's getting the same community development fund as smaller constituencies. He may need 2 more, but depending on the envelope. So what do we see? If we even had 1 more added, honorable colleagues, we'll go from 6.1 to about 72 million kwacha between the two. Shouldn't be that we should all be saying yeah on this? And to hear that people are not being part of this, it breaks my heart, and indeed for us as Zambians. Your question, sir, may we take advantage of, first of all, the provisions, the statement that has happened today, to get back to our people, to correct the impressions out there of things which they were talking about. I hope they can go back on the media, different media, and retract their conversation, because there is no removing of 50+1 for the presidency. There is no extending of the tenure from 5 years to 7 years. So now we are at a place where we are clear, and we are saying as a government, if there are more things, bring them. Take advantage of the statement today. It will be in public domain so that we can have constructive conversations, and also take advantage of the time that it will be gazetted, not only for us, honorable members, even to the Zambians out there. And my hope, Madam Speaker, if I keep staying at this position, I long to see the Constitution written in our agreed local languages, because I think that will help us. Because like I've noticed, because I was forced to be in this position, I'm reading more, I'm understanding more. So if all of us can read it, we'll be amazed how easy, how able we can all understand and interpret the very book that contains the laws that govern us. And that should not be a preserve for only the few. It should be a right of every Zambian. And the Constitution speaks to that all women and men be treated equal and also give to the development of this country. But every citizen should have some basic knowledge about the Constitution. And that will help and cure some of the concerns and misinformation out there. Honorable colleague, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. The constitutional amendment has been motivated by two major factors, such as the enhanced CDF, which is not achieving equality and equity. Hearing the roadmap, it shows that the delimitation will be amended end of July or early August this year, which by the time we'll be expecting the 2026 budget to be announced in September. The delimitation exercise comes with increased cost of human capital. Our space in the chamber here, the accommodation, emoluments, and a lot of other stuff. Is government already thinking of incorporating the expected cost in the budget for 2026? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Again, Madam Speaker, through you, I want to thank my colleague who, in many ways, we share a conversation that relates to this nation for the progress of our nation. I think we have all heard this saying that where there is political will, anything is possible. What has been a problem in this country is the lack of leadership. Leaders who can say, I've heard everything, but because you've given me the mandate to lead, let's proceed and let's do this for the sake of the nation. And sometimes when you are a leader, and I'm learning this myself, it can be a lonely place. I remember President Chiluba saying, Infumu taitukana abantu, abantu ebatukana infumu. I was young, but I really took that word. It means, as a king or chieftainess, queen, people can insult you, but you cannot go and stand on the mountain and start insulting them back, because then they'll say, what kind of a king do we have? What kind of a leader? So a lot of times leaders hold their anger, hold their reasons because of the position that it takes. That wisdom from Chiluba, I took it so seriously, and it's coming in handy for me at the position where I am. And you can imagine a president or other leaders. Then it was Mwanawasa's time, when he was being, what is the word? The inaugural of him becoming president. And the aunt spoke in Lenje, Ono Levi Bonsava Mbako. To mean, all these people, whether they voted for you or they didn't vote for you, they are all yours. I share those two leaders, and in their moment of their lives, I have come to attest in my own little corner how those words were full of wisdom. So what am I saying, honorable colleague? We have to have the will, because Nelson Mandela said everything looks difficult until it is what? It is done. That's why you have the breakers of records. They have broken this race. It has never been done, but they did it. When you look at the Commonwealth, where some of us went and spoke in the Parliament of the UK around the 100 years of women's rights of suffrage, they don't even all come in the House. I stand to be corrected. The Honorable Chonya is agreeing because she's a leader in an organization of all women in politics. They come as they are needed. We were in Uganda with Madam Speaker Deputy Speaker 1. They don't also come. Even this issue that we still have here of a quorum, it may be something we may want to interrogate. Because every member wants to come to the House so that your people can see you. But if you know that you don't really have the main business in the House, maybe we need to think outside the box. What about this whole room? Can it be expanded? If there are artifacts that we are worried about, we go to museums. Madam Speaker, Chicago is one of the best cities with best museums. What do they do in some places? Where the artifacts are, they can push, but still get the wall of whatever you're trying to preserve and still show the public this is the original stone of 18th centuries or whatever it is. So I think what we need is to agree and not limit ourselves because of space. What about these public galleries? Maybe that gallery there, the other members can sit there, especially the independents. Maybe they can sit there. I'm making a joke out of the situation. Then, Honorable Nalolo, pardon me, that's my friend. Then you can have the ambassadors or whoever you think the dignitaries sit in the first rows on both sides. I think if there's something that we are all... Yeah, if there's something we are learning from Trump, sometimes it takes presidents who can dare and do the unthinkable for governments to make a difference. And I think this president, in the name of Hakainde Hichilema, he's that one leader who wants this country to change for the betterment of our children. And as me, as a grandmother of 2, I'm excited for Zambia right now.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member Fonkana, hold on to your point of order. I want to go through this quickly because we don't have much time. Honorable members on my right, forgive me, please. I want to concentrate on my left. The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you very much for that elaborate statement. You mentioned of a technical committee on the electoral reform, of which you stated that almost all stakeholders are involved or were involved in coming up with the aforesaid technical report. Honorable Minister, now that these people were involved in coming up with a technical report, of which I'm not surprised that that technical report contains some of the amendments which are coming before this House, like on delimitation. And the delimitation requires constitutional amendments. Now, listening from the general public, it's like those very stakeholders are already busy criticizing this House for these constitutional amendments. Now, how genuine are they when they participated in some process which they knew very well that would eventually require constitutional amendments? What picture are they portraying to the general public? I would want you to just make a mention or just state a statement with regards to what I've asked. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Well, and this is why it was so important, Madam Speaker, through your wisdom, that we came and brought the statement to the Zambian people. Unfortunate, in the world where we are, whether we like it or not, it is a fast world, it is a world of misinformation, and it is a time where everyone is the chief editor of news. And there is no way you can verify who's saying what, and that's unfortunate. And that is why, Honorable Member of Parliament from Chadiza, your question is so critical. I just mentioned a few of those who are party or who are members of the ERTC, which is still ongoing, which we are waiting for, so that we can also inform part of the drafting process and to also use it as one way we can say it is part of the consultation process. I think the dilemma or the challenge we find ourselves in as Zambians is to want to do the same things the same way, and maybe expect different results. I was very categorical when I talked about the commissions, and one of the commissions was actually done before I was born, the Chona Constitutional Review Commission. We cannot throw away the wisdom, the knowledge, the time, the money, the resource that was put into that, and also their recommendations. Those have been taken on board. What about the Vunga Constitutional Review? What about the Manakatwe? What about the Mungomba? And so on and so forth. These are men and women who have contributed, and many of them, Honorable Member, have spoken to the same issues. What has been lacking is the ability to do what is needed. That is what we have been lacking. And that is why we are saying, as the government currently who are governing this country, together with all the wisdom that has been harvested from the different commission review reports, even what's going on in the process of the RTC, and indeed in the process of the gazetting and what will come out of there, together with the reports that will come out of the select committee, can we move forward together? It is therefore now for the Zambians, for my fellow colleagues, to go out there. Honorable Kambwili, who was my closest friend in this parliament, who I think we have known him to say, Ati insoni ebuntu. So if we were saying there is a 50+1, and you have heard that it's not there, let's accept that I think we were misled. If we heard that the president wants to extend his tenure by increasing it to 7 years, you have to hold me accountable. We can never come back and put that in. How would the Zambians look at us? That is why I was given as much ample time, and this document is no longer my document, neither is it for Minister of Justice, it's for the public to now say, here we had wrongly judged them, and here are things they have missed, can we add, for the sake and for the progress of this nation. What we cannot afford, my fellow colleagues and the Zambians out there, is to continue to be a country that is celebrated because of our democracy and yet behind in a lot of things. And maybe, Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity also, because I've heard people say, well, you do have clauses in the Constitution, especially even on nomination. The president could have nominated more women. And you are right, even though it says may and not shall. Then they go to 259, and they say, yes, even there is the progress, a leeway for those appointing to consider gender representation or equal representation. You are right. But guess what? It was in this parliament, one of my loud voices to the speaker then, Honorable Matibini, was the need for more women in parliament. And he would look straight in my eye, honorable colleagues, and say, Kasune, I hear what you're saying. I know you've been an advocate on women issues for years. But as long as Zambia does not have a legal framework to even actualize, to even bring to life some of the articles as that of appointing, we will never get the numbers that we want. The countries we are celebrating today, who are at 46%, 39%, almost 50%. These are countries that have been unapologetic and not, they have been deliberate to ensure that women are part of the fabric of governance. May I even make it clear that statistics show you, and honorable members who are men, our hope is that the traditional constituencies can remain as traditional constituencies. Meaning you don't have to be intimidated by us women to say we'll come after your constituencies. Those can remain under the simple majority. No, I want to clarify. Because some of your concerns may be now they will divide the constituencies of 156. Honorable Jack is listening in clearly to say half will be for women, half will be for men. No. Our hope, if it comes to fruition, is that the one that we have under simple majority, which is where we all fight, the winner takes it all, the fittest takes it all, those can remain. Possibly, Maybe then you can create seats for women, whether it's district, whether it's province, whatever system we can all agree upon as Zambians. That is the way some countries have gotten to the increase of women in leadership. It is a simple thing if we are willing to do it. It can be difficult. Where there's no political will, anything cannot happen. And where there's political will, anything can happen. And I'm grateful for the he, for she. People like Honorable Mpundu, this
I
one
would want to have more honorable members ask questions. I know the honorable minister.
Yeah, I'm getting heated up, ma'am. Let me conclude. Honorable Kangombe, he is one of the he for she advocates who is supporting women to come in numbers because he's not intimidated. Okay? And the Honorable Jack Mwimbu here, Her Honor, he reminded us, women, if you do not stand up together, women, then it means what you are looking for will only come in 2031. Honorable colleagues, especially my fellow women, is that what you want? That we will miss the opportunity when we had the first female speaker, your first Minister of Justice who is a female, and all of you in this house, we did not speak and say our voice louder that we want more women in Parliament, because women have been known to be effective, to be honest, and to be committed. And we need people like Honorable Kangombe, who are the supporters of he for she, to stand with us in this endeavor. I submit.
Thank you very much. I see honorable member for Kamfisa is no more refusing, he's agreeing. I'm sure you have a mother, you have a daughter somewhere. The honorable member for Chama South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you and on behalf of the people of Chama South, we are very grateful to this government, to you, Honorable Minister, for the ministerial statement. We can't wait as people of Chama to have another 1 or 2 constituencies. Madam Speaker, Chama start from Lundazi to almost Isoka, which is almost 300 kilometers. You are moving in one district with 2 constituencies. So we can't wait to have this amendment passed. Honorable Minister, after this announcement, have you put in place measures to ensure that those of us who are in support of these amendments get on the ground, probably give us airtime in community radio stations, so that we explain to the people what this amendment means for them, just to counter disinformation that is already going out? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Justice, please try to be brief so that we can have 2 or 3 other questions.
Madam Speaker, it's also good to buy time, but I note the guidance. Indeed, Honorable Member, like we have said, unfortunately, the world is full of misinformation. And really, community radios are one of those places where we can take advantage. I don't think community radio station will require of us to pay. So this is a conversation that every media house should support. And so I think it is up to us as members to make ourselves available in our constituency, but even in Lusaka, because a lot of talking and a lot of misinformation sometimes is happening more in Lusaka. But definitely, where we have windows, let's share those, especially the Minister of Information and Broadcasting. I wish information and I think the name has changed at the end, would have been here. But I think all radio stations are looking for people to go and speak. The problem, like Martin Luther said, the blame on racism and slavery will not be only on the people who did the acts, but the people who kept quiet. And I think that's what you're trying to address, Honorable. Many times the louder people, the people sometimes with misinformation are the loudest, and we who may have an opposing view or a supporting view for the amendment, we are not as loud or we are not as spoken as we should. So I encourage all of us members to go out there now that we have the statement and really indeed counter some of the misinformations that were out there. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Ron.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a question. Honourable Minister, we want to sincerely thank you for the ministerial statement. However, Honourable Minister, we can only hope that the roadmap that you have drawn as government is actually adhered to, so that as we go back to the constituencies, we will have an opportunity also, as members of parliament, to disseminate this information. Just as my colleague from Chama South asked, Honourable Minister, it's important that you actually provide the platforms for us members of parliament to start disseminating this information so that we can tell the people exactly what the government's intention is. As you are aware, there is a lot of misinformation. Kindly assure us that as we go and as we adjourn on Friday, you should be able to provide these platforms so that we can disseminate the correct information to the masses. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, I think it was a comment following. So let's listen to the Honourable Member for Kabwe Central. Then we'll have Honourable Member for Katombwa.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Minister, we are so grateful to your government and the cabinet and as a whole for this very, very important document. You have given us a roadmap and indeed the non-contentious issues you have brought. My question is, in 2016, there was recommendations that were done of the constituents that need to be delimitated. Are we going to use the same report, or we are going to recommend for another one? Because we need to participate as members of parliament to give you the reasons why some constituencies need to be delimitated. Thank you so much. That's my question.
The Honourable Minister of Justice, quickly, so that we allow another question.
Noted, ma'am. Indeed, Honourable Member, I know you said 2016, but it was 2019, and that is a report that is for the public consumption. All of us can get it at ECZ. I think it will be up to ECZ either to start from zero or to use that as a base of what now they will recommend to this executive. As you know very well that Honourable Lubinda did make a statement prior to 2021 election, and their basis of the 94 constituencies that were recommended was actually from that report. And that mandate sits with ECZ. So we will be waiting to hear from ECZ, and that is why you could see that we are still in this process, so that they inform us, and I think the roadmap did allude to that. So they're yet to give us that recommendation, and it is from there that we will know what they're recommending, and then the executive will decide how they want to go about it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Quickly, the Honourable Member for Katombwa.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister of Justice. Honourable Minister, what is the advice that you would give the PF members that have run away when we are discussing a very important national document? Very few members from PF have remained, maybe just less than 10. They have run away when we are discussing a grand norm of this country, which is the Constitution of Zambia, which is going to bring more women, more young people into this House. What is your advice, Honourable Minister? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Justice.
First of all, I think, as I alluded to, that there are safeguards in the Constitution, and that means that after the committee stage, there will be a report that will be brought, and people will have to vote. My hope, my prayer is that the 2/3 majority of this House will vote in support of the amendments. That's one. And that is why you have seen some of the PF members, such as the two Binwe Ompundu, Kangombe and others and independents have stayed because they are saying, even though we are from PF, we do support the amendment because it's progressive and we're in support of the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. So we are here because we support, and we appreciate you for staying and supporting the process. I thank you.
Thank you. Order, as the time is beyond 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.